Do you need to balance your budget in an informative way? Keep watching and I'll show you how. So you might be part of a team that's entering a design or engineering competition. Quite often, part of the criteria is to show how you've balanced your budget. This video might be boring for some, but for those in that situation, it's going to be very helpful. We're going to cover how to use a spreadsheet to show our income, our expenses, and our final balance. We're also going to look at how we can use charts to communicate this information graphically. Let's get started. All right, let's go. We have our empty spreadsheet here. In this example, I'm using Google Docs, but there's nothing to stop you from using Excel. Everything will work exactly the same way. We're going to start by renaming it. I'm going to call mine Team Finances. Now, the next thing we want to do is to come down a couple of rows because we're going to have some headings. We're going to put in our column titles. So we have a description for each one. We have a date that the money came in or out. We have the amount per item. We have the quantity. We have the total. We have the total. And we have the balance or cumulative total. First thing we're going to do is copy all of these and then come over to column H, which leaves one gap in the middle, and we're going to paste it. Now we should do some resizing here. We know our description is going to be a lot wider than our date, for instance, and our amount and quantity, things like that, are going to be quite narrow, so we can drag those a little bit smaller. Okay, over on this left-hand side, we're going to merge all of these cells, and then on the right-hand side, merge the cells directly above as well. And on one side, we're going to have our expenses, and on the other side, we're going to have our income. Now, the first thing you should do at the start of your project to work out how much money you need to raise is to come through and predict everything that's going to be in your expenses. That will give you a target that you're aiming to fundraise for, and then as the money comes in, you'll see how close you're getting towards that target. Now, they are just predictions at this stage, so it's okay to alter it later on as they become more accurate and you know how much the cost will be exactly. So our expenses for a typical project or competition for engineering are going to be something like entry fees. We're going to have flights. We're going to have accommodation. We're going to have uniforms. We're going to have graphics and printing. We might have materials. And you might have some other miscellaneous things. For instance, maybe your team wants to get a set of watches so they all match. Now, early on, the date will remain empty because you haven't bought any of these things yet, but in this amount column is where you put in your prediction per item. So something like entry fees where you pay it once for the whole team, that stays as is. But something like watches, if you're getting them off AliExpress, might be $3 and you might have 6 members in your team. So that's why we have this total column here to calculate these types of things. So we're going to have a simple formula under the first one, and that is equals, we click on the cell, and then we do Shift 8, which is an asterisk, which is times or multiply in programming languages. And then we're going to click the quantity and then enter. Basically, we're asking it to do 850 times 1. Now, instead of typing in this formula over and over and over, we're going to click on the top cell and come to the little dot in the corner here. You'll notice the cursor changes. I'm going to click and drag this down to the bottom. And it's automatically done our 3 times 6 equals 18. Now, a couple of little formatting things here we're going to do to make this look a little bit nicer. We're going to select all of column C and we're going to change it to a money amount, which then updates column E because we're timesing money by quantity. We're going to do the same over on this side. So J is going to be money. And although it's empty now, we'll be able to see that paying off later on. So I'm just going to make up some numbers here just to populate this. So let's say it was $900 for flights, $1,220 for accommodation, uniforms perhaps $600, large printed graphics, let's say $400, Materials for technical items and things that needed to be made for the competition, let's say 200. Now each of these is probably going to have a quantity of 1, so we'll very quickly put that in. Okay, this is all very well and good because it's adding up all the things we need to spend money on, but really what we want is for it to add them up as it goes. So by the time we get to the bottom, we know how much all of them are together. So we'll do another formula here. In the first one under balance, we're going to press equals to tell it it's a formula, and then click on the one immediately to the left of it. Hit enter, that's it. Now it gets a little bit more complicated. We want to go equals this one plus this one. So it's going to take whatever was above it and add on the new expense. We can hit enter, and you can see it's adding our two together. Now once again, we can click and drag from the little square in the corner, and it's going to go ahead and apply this formula the whole way down. We can see that our expected budget is $4,188. Now as you go along and actually pay for these things, you can start to put in dates. And if we highlight this entire column and come to the little drop down here, we'll see that there's actually a date preset, and we need to observe the way that it's formatted, which is month, day, year. Let's just make up some dates for this. Let's say that we paid this in September on the 22nd the previous year. You'll notice when we double click now to edit, we actually come up with a date picker, so that's super handy. Unfortunately, even though we formatted these other ones to be a date, it doesn't seem to do it until we've entered the initial default date. It doesn't quite save as much time as it could, but still a handy feature some of the time at least. Okay, so here's all of our expenses on this side. What happens when we start to raise money and we have it coming in? Well, let's look at how that works. It's very similar to the left-hand side. So let's say that we have a GoFundMe campaign. We can put in the date in which the money was transferred into our account and how much we got. Let's say we had about $125 from that. And that was a once-off. And here we have to enter our same formula as last time. So it's going to be equals amount times quantity, enter. Let's say we sold some chocolates for fundraising. I think a good amount might be $400 for that. And that's a once-off. And once again, if we drag our little corner down, we can apply this to everything. If we don't end up having this many, we can simply put the cursor there and delete the ones we don't need. If we need to extend it later on, we can just drag it from the bottom one and make it as long as we need to make it. Okay, let's say at this stage we had our first sponsor. So I'm going to put in sponsor 1, but you would probably put the actual sponsor's name in. That would be a lot more realistic. And they got us going with the princely sum of $500, and that was a one-off payment. It makes sense at this point to want to be able to add up everything, so we're going to apply the same formula as we did on this side. So we're going to go equals the top value in the first row, and then on the next one we're going to say equals the one above it plus the new one that's just come in, enter. And I'm going to click and drag this all the way down. And we know anytime we can just read our bottom value, and that's how much money we've raised. So let's pretend that we had a whole host of generous sponsors coming in at this stage, and this one's really got on board. They've given us $1,000, and we'll make sure that we treat them like VIPs accordingly to reflect that. And then let's imagine we had another sponsor come in, and they donated another $500. And at this point, we need $4,188, and we're actually starting to get a little bit close to that. But maybe your team decided they wanted to do some more fundraising, and they held a raffle. Put in the date that the raffle was drawn, and therefore all the money was received. And maybe from the raffle, we made $380, and that was a once-off. You can see we're getting close to our total. So let's imagine that we're very excited because we've got yet another sponsor, and they've come on board to the tune of another $1,000. How amazing. All our formulas are already in, so they're updating. And let's say we've got one more small sponsor to get us over the line. So that would be sponsor 5. Once again, you should put in the actual sponsor's name. Here, it'll be a lot more accurate. And they chipped in with a very generous $250, especially at that point of the project where things were really coming along. Let's format this column as a date, just like we did on the other side. And as all this money comes in, you should be putting in the date. So let's say that this one came in quite recently. This one came in February on the 16th this year. By the time you head to the competition, none of these should be empty. It's really important to put them all in. Okay, we can delete these bottom two because we don't need them. Although it would be great if you had more income coming in and you actually needed more and more columns and you had a surplus at the end. Okay, at this point, I think we would like to do some more formatting with some totals to make this easier to read. So let's combine these two here, merging the cells, and put in total expenses. And next to it, I'm just going to do equal and click here, which means if I update anything here later on, let's say uniforms actually cost $650, I don't have to manually update this value here. It's already going to be there for me. Next thing I'm going to do is to combine these three here and have total income. And once again, I'm going to say equals this value here. It'll automatically update. And then finally, I'm going to combine these three here. Balance, better known as balance. And on this one, our final formula, we're going to have our expenses minus our income. And that tells us that we are in surplus of $83. The next thing that might be nice to do is to do some formatting here. So this expenses, I think I would like that to be in the middle. Same with our income. And since these are our overall headings, let's select them and make the font a great deal bigger. I think I would like to shade all of these here in one color and all the ones on the other side another. So expenses will normally be some sort of red color because it's money going out, but you can format it in your team colors or something like that if you need to. Next thing we need to format are these headings here. In fact, the whole way across. Let's make those bold. We'll apply some similar color on the other side, and we'll go green or blue for this side because money coming in is generally seen as a good thing. Next item is all of these headings here. They should be bolded and perhaps a little bit bigger in font size, and there are some inconsistencies here. So let's tell it that we want this column to be center aligned and we want our amount to line up here. So let's tell it that we want this one to be on the right. Our quantity, I think, can be center again. And then we won't do the entire column because we don't want this one to change. So we might just select these and say we want those on the right. So everything lines up. Let's quickly do the same on this side. Great. Okay, that's looking really good. I think the reason we made this so big is because we want the text to be really big. We want this to really stand out from the bottom. So let's highlight the entire row. Let's make it bold and let's make the font quite big. This is the type of thing we're looking for. And finally, let's do some formatting here. Although we can see this one doesn't quite fit, so maybe we should go just a little bit smaller on the font. Okay, that's more like it. Just a fine adjustment here. Let's make that a little bit bigger, that's better. So let's say our total expenses, and once again, we'll stick with our consistent color coding. And I might even add a border to this one here. Let's keep the same green for this one here. And once again, a border. And then our balance, I think we'll make stand out in a completely different way. Maybe something like a light blue. Once again, a border. I think this one would like a border on the bottom. And perhaps with a thicker line. And we'll do the same over here. All right, this is looking really legible so far. We can very easily see all the things that we had to spend money on. We can see all the ways that we raised money. We have those summarized down the bottom, and then we have our balance. So anyone reading this at a glance can see that we've taken good care of our finances because we've kept track of all the dates, all of the amounts, and then we know at any stage how much money we have, whether we're in debt or whether we have a surplus. I think a logical thing to do here would be to add in some charts. So normally if we select everything and go to insert chart, it gets confused by all this data in the middle. You can see it has no idea what it thinks it should be doing here. So let's click and delete this, and I'll show you a little trick. We're going to click and drag to select all of these cells here, and then under the total, we're going to click one at a time while holding the control key on the keyboard to select the matching values. Now when we come to insert chart, it's actually going to make sense. The type of chart I think looks good for this is either a pie chart or a column chart or even a bar chart. After you've picked your simple options, you can then come to customize. There's a couple of things that might make it look a little bit nicer. Firstly, there's options for things like maximize if you want the graphic to fill up the whole thing, but the text can clash in that case. There's a 3D mode, possibly looking a little bit dated these days. Something that I recommend doing is controlling whether you actually want a chart title or not to be shown here. If you don't want this to be here, you can simply delete it and it disappears. The legend I prefer not to have when it's only comparing one thing. I think it's pretty obvious what's going on, so we can change the position from right to none. For the series, I like to tick data labels, which means it actually puts the value inside here, which means it's a lot easier to tell how much they were exactly. And then the last thing I like to do is to come to grid lines, and we have our major and minor grid line count. The major ones are on the screen here, and the minor one is how many appear in between them. So if I come to 5, it's going to add in these ones in between. If I want to, I can change the color and fade that right down so it's a little bit more subtle. Now that we've cleaned this up, maybe it's worth revisiting the maximize button. It's a little bit easier to read, although I don't really like what it's done with the font here, so I might leave it off. You can click and drag to move this here. Actually, there's one more thing I might do, and that is to change the color from blue to red to match above. I think that makes a lot more sense visually and communication wise. Let's quickly repeat it for the other side. I'm going to click and drag down, and then I'm going to hold control on the keyboard and click my other ones. I can click and drag as well. Come to insert chart. Change it to the matching type. Let's move it into position and make the same changes as before. Now at any stage, if I want to edit these charts, I can do so easily by clicking on it and coming to the dot dot dot. You'll also find if you click on specific things inside the chart, you can edit those. It'll come up automatically on the side. Nice thing about these charts is everything is automatically updated. So if I realize I didn't actually need 6 watches, I needed 7, I can change that number here and it updates here as well as down here in real time. Now, whatever you do, you want to avoid taking a screenshot of this to put in with your documentation for your competition. So let's look at different ways we can export it to then put in a portfolio or something like that. If you're using a professional graphics program such as Illustrator or InDesign to lay out your portfolio, and this is where you need this type of thing, probably the best suggestion I can make is to come to File and then Download As and pick PDF. Set your paper size, and then a very important step, I've already changed it earlier. Under formatting, you want to make sure show grid lines is unticked, and that will stop it looking like a spreadsheet and make it look like an actual reasonable graphic. After we've done that, we can go to export, and we have a really nice looking document ready to insert into our project components. This type of document is excellent to then open in Illustrator and fix up colors and things like that to customize it for your specific team's needs. This example is easy to follow and pretty simple, but it can form the basis of something pretty powerful later on. I hope it can help you and your team, and I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.
G'day, it's Michael again. If you like the video, then please click like. If you want to see more content like this in future, click subscribe and make sure you click on the bell to receive every notification. If you really want to support the channel and see exclusive content, become a patron. Visit my Patreon page. See you next time.